What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today, I'm here to bring all of you the weekly manga chapter review of Boku no Hero Academia. This chapter celebrates the second year anniversary of Boku no Hero Academia. We celebrated reaching the 100th chapter, but now we are celebrating the 2-year anniversary of this series with a beautiful, 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 beautiful color page. And that color page, oh my, I'm a big fan. Big fan of the color page. Love seeing all the different characters. I love seeing All Might, Izuku, Ochiko, and all of them just all over the cover. The color page of this chapter, insta thumbnail material. But talking about one certain line, there's actually two things I want to talk about. I want to talk about Mineta first. Okay. That was probably by far one of the funniest things of this chapter, just because of what was said in that panel, that colored panel at the beginning. Mineta says, hopefully, since this is, the second year anniversary, he's like, I want to continue to stick my face in women's butts. And I'm like, Mineta, great boy, my boy, never change, never change, never change, my boy. You're something else. You're definitely something else. So Mineta, just his comedy is fucking hilarious. I love Mineta. Now, another funny thing about the, color page was that All Might, I loved how All Might looked like Uncle Sam in his panel, his color panel. Like, he was like, we want you. That's exactly what it looked like. It looked like Uncle Sam, the way All Might was drawn in that panel, that color panel. It looked just so similar to it, and so I was getting a good chuckle out of that as well. So once again, Horikoshi doing a very good job with this color panel. It's just making a very, very good background, making all the characters just on the cover and all that, getting to see all their different designs. It's very entertaining to see. So getting off of that, let's talk about, the main beef of the chapter. Let's talk about, the details, what really happened, and, the cliffhanger and stuff like that. Now, as we know with last week's chapter of Boku no Hero Academia, we found out that the girl at the end of the chapter was actually just disguising herself as Ochiko. She has a shape-shifting power, and also she can, turn into, this slimish looking form, which most likely she can probably use to change her clothing and appearance like nothing, and that's what's going on here. But the main thing is that I talked about in last week's chapter review, is that maybe the reason why she's acting so creepy and why she wants to find out more stuff about Izuku and how he acts or reacts to certain things, and also about Ochiko, is because since it's her ability to be able to shapeshift, it might become a hobby that she wants to know more about people she transforms into, for she can, fool people in the future. For instance, if you know about someone, you could transform into them and be able to fool all their friends and fit in. That's kind of a dangerous ability if you think about it in the right hands. So in this chapter, we get to see that, once again, she displays a very unique set of abilities, or different set of skills that she has in this chapter. For one, as we know, she turns into this slimy looking form to where her clothes are completely removed, and most likely has something to do with changing her entire outfit around to where she could shift into another person and also change her entire appearance. But also, once again, she shows she has very quick speed, and we actually get to see this speed in this chapter. So we all figured out that she was using, misdirection stuff. She was just fooling Izuku to where he would look at somewhere else, and then she would move out of the way really quickly because he couldn't actually keep up with what she was doing because he's focusing in on something else. Well, in this, we get to see that she is incredibly fast. It's not that she's turning into slime or something and going underground. She actually is able to move that fast. We see her do backflips in this chapter at incredible rates, which goes to show you that she is insanely fast. So she does use misdirection. She could easily get behind you, and we get to see this example in the chapter. So this does confirm she is fast, and she was using misdirection to be able to kind of outsmart her opponent, or at the very least get behind the opponent, and then, target their, tags all over them. So, let's talk about that. So, we get a little bit of world building in this chapter about the different targeters on the individual students. Now, as we know, there's 3 on them each. They have to place it somewhere that is not hidden. For instance, they cannot place it in their armpits. They can't place it, under their, feet. They just can't place it somewhere that you can't hit or see at all. You have to place it out in the open, which this leaves room for tampering. And as we know, there's so many different characters and quirk abilities out there that there's bound to be an ability to where you could probably hide something, maybe make something invisible. Now, in the rules, it was never stated that someone could use their quirk ability to maybe hide the targeters all over their body. For instance, let's say you had the ability to touch an object and turn it invisible, as long as if it's on a visible spot, like let's say I put it right dead center on my chest here, okay, if I was in the, competition, and I can make it invisible, it's still necessarily there, it's on my body out in the open, I'm just using my quirk to my advantage to where you can't see it. And so you get to see where some of these different heroes are actually participating in this and abusing their quirk to be able to hide the tartars. And most likely, the reason why we didn't see the girl's tartars all over her body is probably because she is a shapeshifter. Since, you know, she's kind of like a slimish looking body, most likely she could just change the entire outer appearance of where, you know, her tartars are, and you can't find them at all. So it's not necessarily like she's cheating, she's kind of just bending the rules a little bit, because it was never clarified that you could do something like it. Especially like, you know, taking someone else's balls and then use them to take down another target. That's something that was never clarified, and this leaves a lot of rules to interpretation. You can just interpret any way you feel, and like, maybe I could do it like this, because if they don't stop you, I guess it's completely fine. So once again, we get to see how these rules are very open, and you can really kind of bend them in a way to make them really fit your needs. Now, one of the big things though about this chapter, especially with Izuku thinking in his mind once again, is that he said that this entire competition going on, you know, fighting to who survives, you know, the first 100 people to actually get to takedowns, we now know that majority of the people are fighting are all trying to get the spoils of war. And I talked about this when the entire competition was, you know, talked about, when it was introduced and stuff. I said there's going to be so many people that are going to be holding on to their balls, and then they're going to probably wait until someone has like 2 of their targeters lit up, and then they're going to hit the last one, and then they're going to get the kill, the elimination, because they don't necessarily need to hit all 3 to get the point. They just need to get the final hit, which, as I said, reminds me a lot of things you would see from a game or something. Kill stealing, assist, whatever. And that's exactly what's going on. Izuku is like, with the way the situation is, it seems like, you know, a far range DPS would be the best for this entire competition. If you're not near someone and you can stay away and then throw these balls, it's perfect. So we get to see examples of this from other people we've seen already in this competition, to where like they're using their quirk abilities to be able to use the balls, like either harden them into like concrete or steel or whatever, or using the wind to pick them up and then slam them to everybody else's targeter. We see that, you know, many, I guess, long range people that use quirk abilities like that can actually have an advantage here, and people that are up close and personal are kind of at a disadvantage. So this means that Izuku, even though he's fast and he has, you know, one for all, he necessarily isn't in a very good situation, because he may be fast, but he has to get up close and personal to be able to target someone, unless he gets good at throwing like a ball, which I'm willing to bet he probably could, because it's Izuku and also, you know, his strength and speed. But the point stands is that this entire competition is more for people with long range, and Izuku has realized this, and he realizes he needs to be the decoy, while Ochako and Zero are the ones actually doing the takedowns. For instance, they, like, you know, make them immobile where they can't move, and then you have it to where they go in and they get the elimination. Now, time is ticking fast, and it's only a matter of time until, you know, people start stabbing each other in the back. As we know, many of the students in different, you know, schools are going up against UA. They're trying to take them down, and it's just going to be a matter of time before all these schools start stabbing them in the back and then taking them down, and when you see these eliminations racking up, and everybody's going to be kind of in a fit trying to get those last remaining eliminations, because time is ticking, you know, down. I mean, we know there's only 40 more eliminations that are left until the entirety of this competition is done. So yeah, a lot of weight is on everybody's shoulders, and there's a lot of stress, and I'm curious exactly who is going to pass at the end of the day. Now, getting off of that, let's talk about the scene at the end of the chapter with getting to find out more about how Bakugo and Izuku carry the class. And this is something that has been kind of displayed before. It's been out in the open. It's not something that came out of nowhere. It was just, this was the first time that it was point blank stated to us as the readers of the series. We know Bakugo and Izuku, they've kind of changed the class in better and for worse in different ways. And I mean, you have to where Bakugo, with his personality, with how much of an ass he could be at sometimes, sometimes he stands out, sometimes he doesn't, and he's able to kind of change the dynamic of the class, and also how Izuku has changed the class throughout his journey as well. So I mean, there's been a lot of changes, and I like how this chapter point blank states to us like what they've done for the class and how they changed them over time with some of their actions. Now, another thing too, let's talk about a quirk ability. We get to find out about this dude that has a quirk ability to turn people into like a pile of meat, and this is a very creepy ability, and I don't even know what to say to describe it besides saying like you're literally turned into a pile of fucking meat. Like your body's disjointed into like a mass of meat, and then you look like a freaking potato. That's exactly what you look like. And it's just so disturbing and so disgusting when you see this dude that is just turning people into this mass of meat, and Bakugo is currently going up against him. This man is very dangerous, a very dangerous individual, because I mean, for someone to be able to probably do something like that and make you completely immobile, that's deadly. That's really deadly. We need to find out exactly how this quirk ability works, because, I mean, think about it. I mean, if this dude, if he only needs to touch you with whatever, you know, hands or fingers he has and turn you into something like that, that's kind of damn terrifying, because if you didn't know about his quirk and he walked up on you or something and he just Hatch you're a fucking human potato. Like, what the hell? So, yeah, it's a really dangerous quirk that Bakugo is going up against. And just to see how many people he's already taken down like that, you're like, damn, that's incredibly powerful just to see what he's done. So, yeah, chapter overall, it was a very good chapter. Can't wait to see what happens next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.